Alright, here's my video lesson for 922. You might be asking, why are we not doing 921? Well, 921 was the start of constructions, and the way that they have a way of doing constructions in 921 was on paper, like tracing paper, and it was all hands-on. And so we can't do that online, so we're moving into 922, where they give us an e-tool to do most of the constructions online. And I'm going to go through this. You're going to see me bounce back and forth between my slides here, the ebook, and the e-tool. And I'm also going to show you, so it's important to watch this through the first problem, especially because I'm going to show you how you can use the snipping tool on your computer to take what you construct, copy, and paste it into the lesson document that I'm going to be giving you through that PDF and through Cami. And so that's an important thing to pay attention to. The other thing is just realizing that like constructions are really just building using like circles, straight lines, rays, using our basic geometry tools to build some of the relationships we've already seen in class. And so like what this one says here, we're going to be constructing angle bisectors. We know those two words. An angle bisector is just a line that cuts an angle perfectly in half so that one half is the same as the other. And perpendicular bisectors, we should know that too. That is just where two perpendicular lines, to be perpendicular, that means they intersect and form 90-degree angles. And bisector again means that those perpendicular lines are cutting each other in half so that one half is the exact same as the other half. All right, we're going to get started then on the first problem. And like I said, I'm going to be bouncing around here from the slides to the Desmos building tool. And the resource page here. So please try to stay with me here. Make sure you're looking at all of them. Really the big one is to be using that Desmos e-tool. We couldn't do this without it. All right. So it's saying that we studied how to construct geometric relationships in 921. Well, we didn't. But what they did in 921 was they constructed congruent lines using a compass and tracing paper. And today we don't have a compass and tracing paper, but we do have that e-tool. And so what we're going to start with is this right here. This fella named Ventura was doodling with his compass and drew two circles with the center A and center B that intersect each other, okay? Or that their circles pass through each other's centers. And it's saying, first explain why circle A and circle B must have the same radius. Well, their distance from the center out to the edge is the same for both circles. Their distances here are the same, and so they must have, and that those aren't straight lines, so it looks dumb, but that's the answer here, is that they just have the same distance to their edges. So same distance, and I can kind of fit it in here, is just same distance to their edge of the circle. Okay. Now this is where I got to start bouncing around. It says on lesson 922 resource page provided by me, construct these two intersecting circles that pass through each other's center. And so I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on so I'm on the ebook. This is lesson 922. I can click on the resource page and it says in the space at the right, construct two intersecting circles that pass through each other. And so I can't do it on that resource page, so that's when I go and open up my geometry e-tool here, my Desmos geometry e-tool. Okay, it brings up this screen right here, and what this screen is just gives us all the things we need to construct what they're saying. And so it tells us that we need to construct two intersecting circles so that each pass through the other's center. So what we want to create this right here. We want to create these two circles. And so I grab my circle, I make one, and then I make another. And I can label these points here, label it A, and label it B. And then all of a sudden I already have what the book has, these intersecting circles. All right, and then I can keep moving on. I have that part of my construction done. Okay, and so I move on, and it says, on your construction, locate the 2 points where the circles intersect each other. Call these points C and D, and then construct quadrilateral ACBD and then it asks what type of quadrilateral that is. Well, what they're saying is we want to label these points of intersection up here and down here C and D. And so that's what I'm going to do on my construction. I'm going to grab a point. I'm going to label this part C. This little point of intersection is now C. And this point of intersection, oh, I got to add a point quick, down here is now D. Labeling it D. And what I'm doing there to label them is I plot the point, and then I click the select, and then I double click on that point, and it brings up that option to label it. And if I didn't want to call it C, I could delete it and call it X, but I'm going to keep it as C because that's what it said to do in the directions. All right. So now I have it labeled where I have all my intersections labeled, and it says to construct the quadrilateral ACBD. So I want to connect A to C, C to B, and D to B. And so I go back here and I construct A to C, C to B, B to D, and D back to A. And I have my quadrilateral that they were looking for. Now what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this for yours, but I'm going to hide the circles now. And how you do that, you can click the circle and you can click the hide button, and that circle goes away. You can click there, click the hide button, and I'm just left with my quadrilateral now. Okay? Now it's saying, once you have this quadrilateral ACBD construction, what type of quadrilateral is it? Well, to me, this looks like either a parallelogram or a rhombus. And to be a rhombus, it would need all equal side lengths. And so that's what I'm going to actually see. Does it have equal side lengths? And what's really nice about this E tool is like I don't even have to measure it. I can just click on that segment, go down to where it says measurements, and I can say add label. And that length is 2.3. All right, and I can do that with all of them. So that was AC. I can do that with CB. Add the label. That's 2.3. Click down here with AD. Add the label. That's 2.3. Down here, add the label. It's 2.3. So I do have a rhombus here. I do, in fact, have a rhombus here. I could check some other things to make sure that these are actually parallel, but I know it, and I know that all the lengths are the same, and so I have this rhombus here. Okay, so if I go to my slide, I can say that what type of quadrilateral is this? This is a rhombus. And if I wanted to justify it, I would say it has two pairs of parallel lines and all equal sides. All right. Then the next question I'll bring back here. It says, use what you know about the diagonals of ACBD. So what do you know about the diagonals of a rhombus to describe the relationship of AB and CD? So I'm going to actually make these lines here, AB and CD. And so I'm going to go in here, use my segment, and I'm going to make a segment AB, and I'm going to make a segment CD. Okay? And then it's asking me, what do I know about the diagonals of a rhombus? Well, I do know from what we've done in class before that the diagonals of a rhombus, and this really kind of reinforces it, the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors. They are perpendicular bisectors, meaning that these two lines, CD and AB, are perpendicular. They form a 90, and they bisect each other, meaning that this half from A to the center and from the center to B is the same length. They break each other in half perfectly. And so I can go back to my slide here and I can say, well, what do I know about the relationship of AB and CD? They are perpendicular bisectors. Sorry for the bad handwriting. Okay. It's saying, what else could you construct using this for the last part here? Well, the last thing that I think I can construct would be an equilateral triangle. And I'm just going to highlight that by making segments this AB, CA, and CB. And I'm going to hide the rest to show that this is really an equilateral triangle here. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to hide, I think I can hide each individual part here. And then I'm going to talk about the length of AB. If I show that length right there, that's also 2.3. And I have created an equilateral triangle from using that diagonal from A to B and the top half of my rhombus. Okay? Now, say I wanted to unhide some things, or I wanted to kind of take it from where it is right here. I said that I was going to tell you how to use like the snipping tool. And so when you want to show that you actually did create this and you want to put it into your Cami, what you can do is you can click on your computer and you can find, and you could type it in down here too, Snipping Tool. Right? It's an app that hopefully your computer already has. I believe it already does. And if not, there's probably plenty of other screenshotting tools. This is just one of the screenshotting tools that I know of. And what you do is you open up your snipping tool. It brings up a little window. You click the new button. And then you can just drag, and whatever you put in this red box, it's going to take a screenshot of. And so I want a screenshot of this whole thing for my construction, and I have the picture once I've closed out, once I've clicked and dragged over what I want. This is the picture that I have, and I can just click and copy, and then if I wanted to put it on something, say this is my Cami or my PDF that I'm working on today, I can just go on here. I can, because I think this is controlled by something else, I can actually put it somewhere. I'm going to extend my page and not have it on that thing. And I just paste it, and I have my image. I can shrink it however I want. And so I can say like, oh, here is my construction that I created. And so that there's a way that I can see that you were able to make what you needed to make, and you can put it on that Cami so I can check it. All right. I am going to probably do the rest of the next two problems in the next video, and I should be able to finish that because this one was a little bit longer with explaining the E tool and explaining this snipping tool and how to take pictures. This is definitely new stuff. This is our first day of construction, so I'm expecting some struggle and some questions to be asked. But hopefully this first video helped at least answer some questions like, what does it mean by doing constructions? It's really just using shapes and straight lines and rays to see some of these geometry properties that we've talked about already. And it's also just showing this E tool here and some of the neat things with this, and being able to just kind of go in here and delete it, using segments, using circles. And we're just going to, in the next video, as we keep doing these constructions, we are going to keep using this. And so that'll be it for this one. And watch the next one for the last two problems.